Similarly, Fubara offered to resign severally.
You know this for a fact?
I know this for a fact because what exactly does the former governor of my state, Nyesom Wike, mean when he says that he will never forgive Fubara?
Has the president performed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Has it met your expectation? Has it delivered for Nigeria? Yes or no?
No.
No?
No.
Would you support him in 2027? And who would you support if you are not supporting him?
Who is there?
Who is there?
Yeah.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso, and a slew of others in the smaller parties. Well, I mean, these three heavyweights.
I am yet to see.
Give us your own ideal president.
Simple.
Yes.
My ideal president.
A name, a face.
That's why, I mean, if you woke me up right now, if I were asleep and you woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, out of everyone that wants to be president, who is the ideal president?
Okay, Ma, without further ado, let's get right into our conversation. The piece you and the Rivers Elders Forum fought for and sort of agreed, which led to the recall of Governor Fubara from suspension. That fragile piece seems to have fallen apart. Some would say expectedly. What's your take on this?
Absolutely yes. And it doesn't come as a surprise to me and to, I believe, the whole group, though I'm not speaking for the forum, but I am a member of the Elders and Leaders Forum, and that actually covers all the ethnic nationalities that make up River State. It's not just an Ijaw thing. It is a River State movement led by the former governor of River State, Chief Ada George, and a former deputy governor of River State with Sir Dr. Peter Odele, Sir Toby. He is also our leader, Andrew Chendu, who is a member of the, as of now, the APC, and so many others. And we've existed for, I think, as far back as 2012, 2013, leading up to the 2015 elections. Yeah, so we've existed for a very long time. A lot of people know it and pretend they don't, or some people genuinely don't know it. But yes, when the crisis between the former governor and the FCT minister, a PDP member under an APC government, had the crisis with Sir Fubara, the governor of Rivers State. We stood up and we lent our voices, elders, to the crisis. And we called it what it was, what it still is, which is to say that this is not in the interest of the people of River State. And the fact that the person happens to be Governor Fubara, and he happens to be from the Ijaw ethnic nationality, it was really never the issue. For us in the group, what was the issue was the fact that what was going on was unacceptable, and that it was not and can never be in the interests of the generality, the totality of the people of River State, and that it was really just one man's desire to have a third tenure which is not allowed by the Constitution. And we stood our ground then, and we continue to stand our ground up till now, because we're Rivers people, and it is our right to stand up to be counted, because particularly I would want to always find myself on the right side of history for the sake of tomorrow. When I'm no longer here 30 years from now, 40 years from now, I hope people will be able to say, well, she always stood for this and she always stood for that. And people I love and people who love me can be able to be proud of that. But I've always stood for justice and equity, and this is no different.
Interesting. The issue at stake seems to be the identity of, in inverted commas, 001. Who is the leader, in the states? Who is the leader? Who is the political leader in the states? You are renowned as someone who has fought against external oppressors, But now we seem to have a situation where an indigene, incidentally, the immediate predecessor to the, incumbent governor, seems to want to control and dictate to, a sitting governor, even if, yes, we all understand you helped him, if we could use that word, to get to office. I mean, is it proper for one who has served its 2 full terms of 4-year each to want to be dictating, as it were, to a sitting governor, to take directives from you and all of that? That seems to be what's your take on this?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, in the sense that his tenure of 4 years per tenure is ended.
Yes.
Full stop. It's funny in a sort of way, and ironic even, that I started off in 2014 stroke 2015 in a total opposition to the emergence of the then state Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike, who is my younger brother, who is from my state. He was running to be governor of a state that has a riverine and upland dichotomy positioning when it comes to politics. Dr. Peter Odili is from the upland. He served 8 years. The Amechi, the Ikwere's ethnic nationality, they are also upland. After Dr. Peter Odili, it should have gone to the riverine. It didn't. It stayed in the upland, and it went to the Ikwere ethnic nationality. And after 8 years of Governor Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, it went back to another Ikwere man, still from upland. So we now had a situation in Rivers State where we had the upland governing back to back, 3 times. That's 24 years, completely cutting out the people who are from the riverine area. Mainly Ijos. There are other ethnic nationalities, but it is mainly the Ijos. And I must say this, that the Ijo ethnic nationality is the largest ethnic nationality in Rivers State, irrespective of what anybody says or conjures up in their mind. You can't say that a people who cover more than 10 local government out of 23 are minority. They are not.
Almost 40%.
Yes, they are not minority by a long shot. And so River State is a very peaceful state. It's called the Garden City. It was not called the Garden City for nothing. It was called the Garden City. I grew up there. We're very peaceful people, but we're also very stubborn people, and we're people that stand up for justice and for
Stubborn on principles, you mean?
absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. And so when it became obvious all round that the upland cannot continue to produce a governor after 24 years, and the Iroeles cannot continue after they have produced two governors back to back, 16 years. And so even the former governor, the Federal Capital Territory minister, a PDP member, also is very much, I was going to say was, but there's no point saying was, is very much aware the constraints he had as a sitting governor, whom had to, I don't agree in godfatherism in politics. In mentoring, I do accept, but not in godfatherism. So him wanting to impose somebody else in Rivers State, let that be an Ikwere man, that was not going to work. And so he obviously chose the one that the riverine people, the majority of the ethnic nationalities, but that's not the issue here, whether we're majority or minority. The issue here is the injustice of the whole setup. And so he himself knew that this had to go to a riverine person. And he chose Sir Similaye Fubara, who was working for him, with him in government, and whose career is in accountancy. And so, but he is from the riverine area. He is an Ijo son. Now, if you say, for instance, if I'm fighting and I say it's not fair, an Ijo man must govern Rivers State because you've governed it for 24 years, then I should accept any Ijo man. Doesn't have to be my son, doesn't have to be my brother. He just has to be an Ijo man. And that was what happened with Sir Similaye Fubara. The majority of Ijo people accepted the nomination, if you like, by Nyesom Wike of Similaye Fubara as the Ijo man that he is projecting. And we accepted it. And that shows our peaceful and reasonable disposition in politics in Rivers State. After all, it's the Ijo people that handed over the reign of political power in 1998, not to an Ijo person, not to a riverine person, but to an uplander, Dr. Peter Odile. So when Similaye emerged, it was okay for us. It was okay for me. I accepted it. I can't say in one hand, and we can't say in one hand, that it's not fair if it's not a riverine person. And they bring a riverine person, and then you say no, because it's not me, that I will not accept it. That's not how I function. And so that's why the support for Similaye Fubara was not 100% at that particular instant. Up till the time Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, the former governor of Rivers State, up till that time, he was having, and he knew he would have issues. He was having issues. But when he had the issue that broke the camel's back, which is, wait a minute, you brought this young man, you and you alone brought this young man. You didn't consult the elders of the state. You didn't consult the elders of the riverine area. You didn't consult the Ijos. You brought this young man. He is an Ijo son. It would be foolish of somebody like me, who is fighting for justice and equity, for instance, to say no. Because he's not from Abonima, which is where I come from, or because he's not from the Calabari stock, he's from Opobo, then I don't accept. But he's an Ijo man. So what is it that I'm fighting for? So for me, the support was total for Semilai Fubara. Now, that must have shocked somebody like the FCT minister, because that was not what he was expecting. And then when the issues began to expose themselves, the funding, how much money was coming, how much tax was being collected, the revenue, how much, we thought it was like 10 to 12 billion naira a month, and now we're coming to realize that it's double that amount of so where was the other amount of money going for the past 8 years? So these were the things that I had to, as a person and as a rights activist, I had to consider before I took a position. And after consideration, I took the position that the former governor must lay off his hands. He fought to be the president. He failed. He's not the first person to have lost his bid for presidency. The people of Rivers State should not have to pay the price of his failure. The people of the Niger Delta should not, even Nigeria as a whole, should not have to pay for that failure. He is not the first person to lose a bid to become the president of Nigeria. And so you saw this organic resistance by the people against the former,
what they perceived as the high-handedness,
yes, of dictating, of being previously seen as a dictator within the state. But the riverine people, the Ijo people, accepted and said, well, let's live with it. It's just 8 years. It will come back to the riverine people. So after living with it for 8 years, I think it was very choking to realize that, hey, wait a minute, we're probably finding ourselves in a position where we're probably going to live with this for 8 more years, you know. So this was how people, the support for Semilai Fubara turned into what it turned into, the attack on him, where he said every die is a die and that he's prepared to die. And the kind of thing was like, well, if that be the case, then all of us are prepared to, because this is our right. You can't impose everything you want on the state. You know, you can't demand the things that we were hearing. What's that word? Allegedly. Exactly. The things that we were hearing that was being alleged could not be accepted any longer by Rivers people as a whole, not just the riverine.
Now, the former governor has openly dared the governor to say, tell the whole world what, you know, these agreements that you're talking about, tell the world. As an elder, you know, of the state, I mean, I'm even willing to say as an elder stateswoman for Nigeria, you know, of course I know you are, you know, no doubts about that. What exactly were these onerous, you know, terms of this Tinubu deal that became so contentious and all of that? What exactly?
If you recall, when this thing started, that's when Nigerians started hearing about the elders, leaders forum. But at that time, I was not an elder in the mold that I am now. But now I'm a full-fledged elder, and I deserve the right to be consulted in things to do with my state and the future of my state. And if what I'm saying is senseless, I will accept that it can be tossed aside. But if it is not, and is a reasonable position for the good of the state, then I will not accept it to be tossed out because it's in the interest of the people. Number one, I do not, and I will never agree with the idea of godfatherism. It's a major political problem that we have in Nigeria. Even smaller nations in Nigeria don't have godfatherism. And quite honestly, if you want to move your country forward, if you want to move your people forward, this godfatherism, with all due respect, is irresponsible. I see no reason why a man should decide that he, after serving 4 or 8 terms, now becomes all of a sudden a mini god that decides who then becomes the next governor of Rivers State. That's always, of any state, sorry. That's always been my position. And that's why I stand against it. Now, when the issue began to arise, we were not aware, a lot of Rivers people were not aware of what was going on between the former governor and his so-called, which I don't accept because similarly Fubara has a father, his so-called godson. We began to realize what was going on. Now, what is going on? What was going on is something that was creating problems for 2 personalities that are just as River State as I am, and yet what was going on between them was affecting the whole of River State negatively. Why should it be so? And why should one man have such a power? And what is it exactly that they agreed to over the heads of the people of River State? So it became clear to me that our heads have been shaven in our absence, because all I kept hearing is that they had an agreement. Now, if we recall, the former president also supported this idea of Ngige's time, when agreement was agreement, and that Ngige should do what they agreed. What exactly? So what? Why are you having an agreement that belongs to the people between yourselves? So when that emerged, that there was an agreement, my question was, in my state, what agreement did you have? You have no right to have an agreement. And if for any reason I now have one person outside of that agreement saying that I no longer accept that agreement or believe in that agreement because I didn't think that this is the way this agreement is going to affect my government or what I can do for the people that I govern.
Governor Sim Fubara, when this agreement was presented to him and he accepted, why did he accept when he knew, number one, it would be detrimental to the interest of the state? Was it that he just felt, I would, accept this agreement, but when I get in, I will renege and all of that?
You see, when you have been, I grew up at the feet of political leaders and players. I come from a political family. My name is Ann-Kio Briggs. And I have fathers and uncles that were in different party. One of my uncle late, his name is was a lawyer. His name is Chief W. Briggs, Chief Wike Briggs. He was a protege of Awolowo. His son grew up in Awolowo's, one of his sons grew up in Awolowo's house. So what I'm trying to say here is that politics is what it is. It is politics. It is not something that you hold somebody to on what you agreed in your bedroom over the head of the people that own the government that you are. You didn't come to the public or the market square and we see the both of you agree to something on our behalf. Now, if you agree to something, it's like a marriage. Nobody goes into a marriage and say, "Oh, I wed you, but I'm free to do this and that." It says the marriage vows spells out very clearly what the terms of the contract of marriage is. And usually marriages fall apart mainly because one person or both people have decided for whatever reason to go against what they had agreed on the day of marriage. It's the same thing here. But people pull away from what they have agreed to in reaction to either, I don't want this anymore, and there is no good enough reason, but I don't want it, or a good enough reason to say, hey, look, I can give you 10 billion naira out of what is coming to Rivers State.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I can accept to give that to you every month. But I've now looked and I've seen that over 3 months, I've given you maybe 20 billion and I can't cope. And so therefore, I don't want this agreement anymore. Since that original agreement is an illegal agreement anyway. It's an illegal agreement anyway. You can't go to court. And because you can't go to court, you become a spoiler. And you become a spoiler by destroying everything, whether it's something good you have done or something good somebody else has done or something good somebody else is going to do for the people. You're going to spoil. You're like a bull in a china shop. You want to destroy everything. And some people, somebody like me, have to be able to say, no, wait a minute, this is my state as much as it is yours. If you can't govern this state without the say-so of the majority of people like me, theoretically, you can't. And so we're saying that if this is the agreement you had with Similar Fubara, and Similar Fubara is saying, look, this agreement is not going to work. I mean, you cannot say agreement says that if I don't do like this, you can come and bring a machete and chop my head off in the presence of my children. My children may react at the sight of that machete. So the truth of the matter is that politicians, whether they be in Rivers State, whether they be in Lagos State, and if you look at somebody like the president of Nigeria today, I took time after the Alhaji Tinubu's behavior during Jonathan's presidency and Pastor Tunde Bakari's behavior, because I was part of the group of Save Nigeria. They invited me. I was not the part of group that put it together. I didn't know anything about Save Nigeria. But if you're saving Nigeria, you can't save Nigeria. All Yoruba people alone cannot save Nigeria. So you have to bring other people in. And I was one of the people that was contacted to join Save Nigeria because I was already on Jonathan's side. That's my choice. He's an Ijoman, he's my brother. I want him to be the vice president. He's the vice president. Things are happening. He may end up becoming the president. And then there are some people that are saying, no, he cannot be. It's not his turn. It's not his this. You negotiate things. You don't force it on people. And you don't say, because I'm too powerful, it's not your turn. Okay, maybe it is not. But people take advantage of situations. It shouldn't be a bad advantage, but a good advantage where you find yourself and you say, you know what, let's try this. But in Jonathan's case, it was even the resistance to the fact of what he was not. Jonathan was not even thinking of becoming. Jonathan was discussing, look, if this Yaradua things goes on and Yaradua goes, i.e. if he's no longer the president for whatever reason, I will have to go because I came in with him. That's the type of human being that Jonathan is. But then when people began to say, no, we will not agree, people like me say, excuse me, this is our country. You're being fed with what is coming from my place. What do you mean you will not agree? So people like Pastor Tunde Bakari emerged, and people like me joined. I was contacted, and I was humbled when I was contacted to join that movement to save Nigeria. But somewhere down the line again, something happened, and Nigeria was not saved. And then we now had, no, Jonathan cannot be the president. And then we now had, Jonathan must go. And then we said, no, Jonathan must not go. And we all saw what transpired. So basically, it's more or less the same thing that repeated itself. Maybe I became more passionate or more understanding because I had experienced it before in the past. And then you now saw a situation where the very man who was in the forefront of what happened to Jonathan, i.e. the present President Tinubu, now wanting to become the president of Nigeria. And he became the president of Nigeria. And you have somebody who takes advantage, i.e. the present FCT minister, who takes advantage of every situation. We're all human beings. We make choices, right and wrong choices. He chose to do that thing constantly. I would not personally have chosen to go about power in the way that he did, but that's his style. And so the fact that we found ourselves, especially from the South, if you like, especially from Rivers State, we found ourselves in that situation where he is no longer the governor of Rivers State, but he is the governor of Rivers State. And so these were the things that made people like me, somebody like me, for instance, to get up and say, no, whichever way I'm looking at it is unacceptable to me. Whether it's Godfather, whether it's God's son, whether similarly agreed to something and he's now changing his mind, which is his right to do. He should not be killed because he's changing his mind. Maybe he didn't know the implication of what he was getting into. What's wrong with a man or a woman walking away from a marriage when they realize that they've married the wrong person and that if they continue in that marriage, they will be dead? And so those are the things that made somebody like me find myself in the forefront, even during Jonathan's time and even in this time. If it shows anything, it shows my straightforward consistence on what is right and what is wrong. Make no mistake, I supported Nyesom Wike. I opposed him before because of the riverine upland dichotomy. But something happened in between that discussion in Rivers State. And I figured, instead of a particular power block, political block, let me not call it power block, political block, taking over the political power of the whole people of Rivers State, I felt that Nyesom Wike was a safer bet, even though I was vehemently against him emerging as the governor of there's nobody in Rivers State, Niger Delta, maybe even Nigeria, that didn't know I was in opposition to Nyesom Wike emerging as the governor. Not because he couldn't do the job, I don't know that he could or he couldn't, but the mere fact that the upland had governed 8 years, and Ikwere man, Rotimi Amechi, had governed 8 years. So Upland had governed for 16 years. Ikwere people have governed for 8. And then you have another Ikwere man governing for 8, which is 16 years. And an Uplander he is. So totally, Upland people have governed for 24. Riverine people have not governed at all. So for me, these were the driving force. And it was based on justice and equity in a state.
Drawing or flowing directly from this issue, the former governor publicly expressed, once again that he feels totally betrayed by Governor Fubara, and that he will not support him for 2027 re-election. That definitely is not going to support him. So are we now at the juncture where an individual, have you leaders, Rivers elders, let alone the entire, I don't know the voting population in Rivers State, maybe 2, 3 million or 4 million. Have you all decided that, okay, Nyesom Wike speaks for all of you? Is the sole determinant of who becomes what? Because anyway, he did say, and we have, this is not allegedly, we have it on record. He said he bought forms for everybody.
He did.
Apparently, you guys have ceded your powers to him to determine who is your next governor, next senator, House of Reps, and all of that. Is that the case?
I, as a person, will never cede any powers as a human being that belongs to me to somebody that I don't believe in.
When you're alive and well.
Yes, when I don't believe in what they are doing. That means that even if I make a mistake by ceding that power, and I come to realize that I've made a mistake, I have a right to step back and say, no, I supported you because I thought A, B, C, D. But now that I'm seeing you with my support in X, Y, Z, I'm not accepting it. I think I have a right to do that. Nobody, not similar Fubara, not Nyesom Wike, have the right to choose for Rivers people. Nobody in anywhere in Nigeria actually have the right to choose for Nigerians, whether they be Christians or whether they be Muslims or they be Yorubas or they be Igi people or whatever they are, because we are ethnic people in this country. And you see, some of the major problem we have in Nigeria, and I'll come back to your question, is the fact that somehow Nigerians believe that because Nigeria is independent since 1960, that we should forget that the Ijaw man existed before the white man came. You can't find somebody who is not lost.
Absolutely.
The white man, my mother's people, my mother is British. My mother's people cannot, my father is Ijaw, cannot claim to have found my father's people. They were there before you came. You came. They didn't come to you. So how are you discovering that? So it's basically the same thing when it comes to politics in Nigeria. Look at somebody like Olusegun Obasanjo. He came out of jail. And for peace to reign, he didn't come up with a fantastic prototype that will work for Nigeria politically. He was in jail, rightly or wrongly. He was locked up and he lived. and for peace to reign between the Yorubas and the Muslims that were in power at that time, he became the president of Nigeria. And so in becoming the president of Nigeria, he did a lot of things that I disagree with. He came into OD and he killed the Ijaw people. He killed my people. He flattened
the place.
OD. There was not a single house that was standing in Bayelsa State in OD. 7 young boys killed policemen. Absolutely horrific. Should never have happened. And they should be able to pay the price. But for that, you bring down a whole community, and the river Nun was flowing in red for the amount of people that Nigerian soldiers killed. And then you say agreement is agreement. And then you say Ngige should keep to his side of the agreement. And then you say the Sharia law, we should ignore Sharia law because it won't amount to anything. Today, look at where we are. And so we have wrong people in places, in powers, at any given time. What exactly does the former governor of my state, my younger brother, Nyesom Wike, mean when he says that he will never forgive Fubara? Which Rivers person did he consult to make this decision about Fubara? I have nothing against it. Fubara is an Ijaw man, is my brother. I want an Ijaw man to govern Rivers State. Why should the upland govern for 24 years? We should govern for 24 years before it goes to anybody else. Yes? So now, how are you saying? Because whose money did you use to buy the form? You bought form for everybody. Whose money? It's Rivers State people's money that you used. Did we send you to buy form for everybody? We just needed one governor. And you're going around buying form for everybody. And then you wake up one morning and you decide that you want to please the Ijaws. And then you pick Similai Fubara, believing that the Ijaws are so hungry for power, which rightfully we are, that they will fight themselves and they will oppose Similai Fubara, which did happen. But always, sometimes reason takes over. And when we saw and realized, the people that didn't support Fubara, I supported Fubara, realized that, wait a minute, really and truly, Wike is doing third term through Similai Fubara. We said, no, that's not the reason not to support Similai Fubara. I will support Similai Fubara, but Wike cannot do third term through Sir Similai Fubara. And he himself had said, no, okay. He offered to resign several times. And Similai Fubara offered to resign severally.
You know this for a fact?
I know this for a fact because I have heard it from the people that were there. Now, you mentioned, or maybe not directly but in passing, that the argument between Wike and Similai Fubara, Wike says he's going to tell us that there are things he will tell us. I can't wait for him to tell us those things. I want to wait, whether they took an oath or whatever it is that they did over and above the heads of the people of Rivers State. But you know what? Whatever they agreed to, we the people are saying we reject it. None of them have a right to agree to anything that is detrimental to the state and to the people of the state. Fubara is the governor of Rivers State. And until the people of Rivers State reject him, he remains the governor of Rivers State. And we will join him as long as he is willing to resist the idea to remove him as the governor of Rivers State and resist the idea of allegedly blackmailing him into accepting that he will do only one tenure. He has no right to agree to that. And if he agrees to that, he's been unfair and unjust, not just only to the riverine people, he's unjust even to himself.
Brilliant. You mentioned, you alluded to it, in your previous comments, that because of the 24 years unbroken leadership of political power in the state by the upland people, 8 years, and then 16 years from Query stock specifically. When they finally got to the turn of the Ijaws, everybody was happy. Now, the win for the Ijaws in the person of Fubara, would seem to have, suffered some huge setback. Because what is now at issue is the crisis, the attacks on Sim. Is it politically motivated or is it ethnically motivated?
It's
What
both.
exactly? It's both. Okay.
It's both politically motivated and it is also ethnically motivated. I have this philosophy. The FCT minister, the former governor of Rivers State, as a person, is in the minority in the type of politics he's playing in Rivers State. Because only a handful of people are being carried along with him. Fair enough, if he decides that he wants his children to join politics, it's fair enough. He can groom them for politics. But grooming your children or your proteges over a period of time, like Tinubu seemed to have done with his son Sheyi, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that it seems to me that it's not just now that Sheyi has been learning the ropes from his dad. He's been learning it in the background for a while. Now, you see the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, whose children are in their early 20s. And he is taking them along as full-fledged politicians to political activities. They can follow their father. Children, I followed my father to parties and things like that. But we are not recognized as part of the process. We, as children, when I followed my father or my uncle to political discussions and things that we heard and listened to, it was, I don't know how my grandmother would say, because you have the privilege to hear what adults are talking about, it doesn't mean you're an adult. And it doesn't mean that you go and repeat it outside. But when you're taking a 24-year-old to serious political campaigns and discussion, and not only, he's not even sitting in the background, he's standing on the platform, in line with politicians that have been in politics for 50 years. It's insane. My children, I have 4 children, they range from 50 to 30 something. Even I am not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I can't be a politician. You know why? Because I will not accept what goes on in the name of politics. I won't accept it. If I won't accept it, there is no way I will bring my children into accepting it. But my children have a right to make a decision to go into politics. And I will guide them if that's what they want to do. But what I'm saying is that it is unfair to the other common man. Sometimes when I speak to youths, I say to them, any of you seated here, if your father has ever been the governor or the local government chairman of any place, or is aspiring to be the governor, stand up. Nobody stands up. So Your father has never aspired to be a governor. He's probably a fisherman. You're wearing the t-shirt of a governor that when you put it in water, the colors on his face runs. They paid 2,500 for it. And you're willing to kill people because you're wearing that t-shirt. You don't go to school. His children are going to school abroad. And he's using the money that 10 people should be able to use to go to school in Nigeria. And when I talk, you say, you insult Ann-Kio Briggs at my age and call me names because I'm telling you that what you're doing is not the right thing for you to do for your future. So we as a people, we as adults also must take some responsibility because adults have been quiet for too long and people have been afraid for too long. Hey, I don't want to die just like the next person. I have a bargain with God that there is no way I'm dying before I'm 100 years old. Yes, that is my bargain with God. So now, when you have that type of a mindset, you can't tell me that it is perfectly all right for maybe even somebody like Sheyi, for instance, the president's son. You can't get any higher than that now. Let us say Sheyi, the president's son. I mean, if Sheyi, the president's son, gets up in 4 years, maybe in 8 years' time, and say he wants to run for president of Nigeria, I won't vote for him. Just because your father has been in politics does not mean that you know what politics is about, or that you know the justices of politics. Politics is about justice and fairness. That's what politics is about. Politics is not about one person catering everything, putting away for himself. His children are going to Dubai, go to America, go to Harvard, go to Oxford, whether they can do well or not. They are going there because they're paying the school fees. And then your child who is brilliant, who is A+ material, can't even get admission into Unilag because he doesn't have the money. And so where is the justice and where is the fairness in the politics of Nigeria, not just in the politics of, let's say, Niger Delta or Rivers State. So yes, what's happening in Rivers State, I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's just, and I will continue to oppose it when I think it's wrong.
You support him for second term 2027?
Absolutely.
You support him 100%?
Absolutely.
Take a bet. Speak for the elders of Rivers State. Do they support him for second term? Has he satisfied the elders and the people of Rivers State? Do you think, from your feelers, you are a leader in your own right? Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In the sense that the support Fubara has is organic. Mm-hmm. And you know what's very peculiar, if you like, or why we have a soft spot for Similar Fubara? He's not a politician. Really? But he'll be angry with me because I say, but I mean no disrespect. Mm-hmm. He's an accountant, and he accounts for our money. Okay. Politicians don't account for our money. Yes. SYMFONI accounts for our money.
Now, let's leave Rivers now and come to the national. 2027, is it a done deal, or has it been brought back into play because of global issues, the bombing of terrorists in Sokoto by the US? I mean, even a day and a half ago, we woke up to the news, America went to Venezuela, took out the president, brought him to America and all of that. What's the state of play concerning 2027? It's a slam dunk for the president, isn't it?
Well, from what I'm seeing, a few days ago, I said that I've studied a bit of Tinubu. And one thing I've come to realize is that politically, Tinubu knows what he's doing, and he knows how to go about it. Could be wrong, could be right, but he goes about it the way he believes he can get it, and he gets it. Tinubu could have made himself president when he made Buhari president, but Tinubu knew that was not the right time. He used Jonathan to make Buhari president, and then when he wanted to be president, he still went to Jonathan. I don't know what they discussed, but my type of politics, if I go into politics, but because of the way they do politics, I'll never go into politics in Nigeria, is that if you say that a man drinks ogogoro and therefore he shouldn't be the president of Nigeria, that's what you say. For you to go to him and say you want to be president, it means that he's no longer drinking ogogoro, or that he's still drinking the ogogoro, but now you want to be president. It really doesn't matter. So then why did it matter when he was president? So I'm yet to see. I remember independence of Nigeria very well, and I know the story of independence of Nigeria. I know Okilo's involvement. I know what Okilo's vote meant before independence and how he could not have done this or done that. Now, I am yet to see a president of Nigeria that did better than Jonathan started off to do if he was allowed. So what some people who say they are politicians actually want to do in Nigeria is not politics. What they want to do is control whatever God has blessed all the parts of Nigeria. The things I'm hearing that is in the north in terms of resources, I'm astounded. And I mean, if you look at it, it's definitely more than what we have in the Niger Delta right now.
Has the president performed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Has it met your expectation? Has it delivered for Nigeria? Yes or no?
No.
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 Would you support him in 2027? And who would you support if you are not supporting him?
Who is there?
Who is there?
Yeah.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso, and a slew of others in the smaller parties. Well, I mean, these three heavyweights.
I am yet to see.
Give us your own ideal president.
Simple.
Yes.
My ideal president.
A name, a face.
That's why, I mean, if you woke me up right now, if I were asleep and you woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, out of everyone that wants to be president, who is the ideal president? People might expect me to say Obi. Now, they will expect me to say Obi because Obi has a track record in Anambra as a governor. So, he may be a good president because he has been a good governor. Now, any other person that I see today that wants to be a president or has been a president, the only person, and this is not because he's from the same ethnic nationality with me, is Goodluck Jonathan.
So you wouldn't mind former President Goodluck Jonathan coming back to?
I will mind. What's he come to do? No, what's he come to do? It's like somebody it's like a woman, I divorce a man.
He has an unfinished
and then,
business.
No, he has no unfinished business. The only unfinished business Goodluck Jonathan has is to make sure that his people are raised up. That's the only unfinished business he has. He has no unfinished business with Nigeria. They didn't want him. So he has no unfinished business with them. He may think he does, but I don't think he does.